Pinball Randy here with Randy's Pinball, and today we're in the back corner of my shop. It's really crowded back here, but I needed some space to figure out this table. This Austin Powers came to me from South Carolina, and it had been to two other techs over the last year or so trying to get it working, and no one was able to. What happened originally was some of the devices on the playfield stopped working, and the real trouble started there. When it came to me, it would not boot. It came with all these boards with the exception of this. This is from another table that I was using to test. It came with all these boards, two brand new Rotten Dog boards and an original MPU, but it wouldn't boot. So I did a little bit of research, did a little bit of digging, and the first thing I found was that the video ROM was burning hot. It would literally blister your finger to touch it while the machine was on. That should never happen. And that tells me that it's not getting the right voltages. So I did a little more digging and I started looking into the voltages. And I found that I was getting 12 volts across the 5-volt rail, which led me to this connector. Now you can see this connector's broken. When I found it, the red wire was where the gray wire is, and the gray wire was where the red wire is. Now I'll replace this connector once I start doing all the repairs. Actually, I'll replace all of these connectors because they're brittle. This is the 5-volt wire. These are grounds. And this gray wire, that's 12 volt. So my guess is the first person that worked on this, these wires came off because it's broken. And instead of replacing the connector, they shoved them back in. But they shoved them back into the wrong spots. They didn't check the manual. They didn't check the voltage of the wire out. They just put them on where they thought they went. And they were wrong. And then as soon as you plug that in, it put 12 volts to the 5-volt rail and started popping everything. And then they replaced the MPU. And they put 12 volts to the 5-volt rail and they popped everything. And so then they replaced the MPU again. And they put 12 volts to the 5-volt rail and then they popped everything. Now I don't know who did it. I don't know at what point it happened, but I can make my guesses. So I fixed that temporarily, shoved them back in where they're supposed to go. I put in one of my MPUs that I use for testing and my display that I use for testing. Actually, my second display because I already killed one with the over voltage. Put in my second display for testing and poof, everything boots up, seems to work. So now I'm going to have to go through and repin all these connectors. Whether I fix these or replace them is going to be the question, and it's really going to depend upon how bad the damage is. But chances are, with 12 volts running through the 5-volt rail like that and getting all the way to this board, I'm going to have to replace them. I'm also going to have to replace this board because nobody works on these things. This is the DMD controller. And I'm going to need to verify that the DMD power supply is also not damaged, and same goes with the solenoid driver board. However, the solenoid driver board should be okay because this is where the voltage comes from. So everything was good to this point, and then it comes out and gives me 12 volts and 5 volts here, and everything went wonky from there. So I'm going to get this all fixed up for the customer, and it's not going to be a cheap repair because there's going to be a lot of stuff to replace on it, but it'll be ready for them here soon. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in about a month on this table. Have a good one, folks.